It's Wednesday, December 20th, 2017. My name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla here in New Mexico with your legislative update for the day. I want to talk a little bit today about homelessness. And we've had a lot of discussions in this country about dehumanization over the past year, and you've seen it. You saw it in Charlottesville in August, where you had the Nazis and KKK marching down the streets talking about black people and Jews. You've seen it with immigrants, where the word illegal is used to describe someone and take away the fact that a lot of these people are just trying to come here and make a better life for themselves. You've seen it with a lot of women who are now treated as sex objects by a lot of, especially men in power, and you see more and more examples of their humanity being taken away. And what does all this do? It basically makes it easier for us to do bad things to people when we don't recognize that these folks feel pain and suffering, as well as joy and happiness, as well as the rest of us. And we see it all the time with the homelessness. And there's a lot of folks out there that have gotten into some hard times through whatever reason. There's a lot of veterans out there, a lot of mental health issues. Some people just get into a downward spiral of bad fiscal luck and end up without a place to live. And I attended a presentation today online through the National Center for Law on Homelessness, and as well as went down to the Community of Hope here in Las Cruces and had a personal conversation with St. Luke's, which is the health center down there, as well as Nicole Martinez, who runs the Community of Hope. And there's a couple of things. First of all, you see across the United States a rise of tent encampments, and we have one right here in Las Cruces at the Community of Hope. And what a lot of folks say is that when you're moving from place to place and when you can't find a place to bed down that's going to be warm, it creates a lot of sleep deprivation issues. A lot of times people are told to go to shelters, and if shelters are full, or even if you go in there, a lot of times it's not as clean or safe for your stuff if you're in a shelter as being in one place. And that's why a lot of these folks are turning more towards a tent. Yeah, it's not as good as having a roof over your head, but if it's in a safe spot that allows you to keep your stuff in a place where it's not going to get stolen, that you can keep clean, a lot of times that's a better alternative than going to a shelter. And as long as these are transitional, these tent cities shouldn't be permanent, but as long as they're transitional and there's programs to help you out and get you into a home and get a job and that sort of thing, then they can be a good thing. And we do that here in Cruces. And in fact, at the Community of Hope, there's a pretty good job of putting a lot of services for these folks in one spot. So you have food, you have both a soup kitchen and a food bank down there with Casa de Peregrinos and the soup kitchen down there. You also have healthcare. So St. Luke's is now a federally funded health program at the Community of Hope where people can go and get basic health care. You also have shelter. So you've got the tent city that Community Hope runs. They've got clothing and they've got services there, and they also have bathrooms and showers, and there are people there wanting to get these folks into permanent housing. And so these are really good things that we've got to continue to support. Every year when I get what we call capital outlay money, infrastructure money, I try to carve a little bit out for those guys. And a few years ago it was the flooring for St. Luke's, the health clinic. 2 years ago it was fencing for the area surrounding the tent city. And we've got to all try, because these folks a lot of times, they're just like us, they get into a bad way, and it can happen to any of us. And we want to make sure that we have some compassion and empathy for those people in our community that are going through a rough time. So what can you do to help? Immediately, you can always donate to the Community of Hope. In fact, they have a lot of blankets right now. I was down there with my mom and some other state legislators, some other state representatives that came down to donate blankets. They seem to have enough of those right now. What they need are three things. They need tents for people who want to live in one. They need tarps to help more shelter on the tents, and they need sleeping bags. So if you have any of those extra things here in Las Cruces, you can go down to Amador Avenue and let them be used in a really useful way. Also, you can vote for people who understand that with the government that we're not going to give real huge tax cuts to corporations, out-of-state corporations, out-of-country corporations, and wealthy individuals. And we want to make sure that we have a little compassion and fund programs like transitional housing and like Medicaid, which has allowed a lot of these people to get basic health care, both physical and mental health care, when they haven't had a chance at that before. And really make that one of the things that we talk about in the political process. We need an economy that works for everyone. We need a community that works for everyone. And that includes those that are having a tough time right now and don't have a roof over their heads. So thanks again for watching this. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other issues, I'd love to talk with you and hope everyone has a great Wednesday. Thanks.